Today we are listening to Tom Joubert's story, who was shot and paralyzed and had to teach himself how to walk again after this attack happened. Good day, dear friends. This is Willem Petzer speaking. Today we are listening to Tom Joubert's story, who was shot and paralyzed and had to teach himself how to walk again. Tom is running a successful business, but despite this, he told me that he is considering moving to America to become a truck driver, giving up his life that he has here because he needs safety in his life, and he's on a daily basis in a position where he's threatened with his life after this attack had happened. Letting go of everything, because sometimes it feels like things are becoming too bad in South Africa. Tom, tell me about that night of the attack in the store before it happened. What were you doing? Paint me a picture of what was going on.
Okay, it was in a small town, in a rural town, Morgenson, in Mpumalanga. Okay, and also that is where a lot of these type of crimes is generated. So what happened is, we were in the store. It was my mother's store, and I was there waiting for a work permit for a new job, and then I visited her. So at approximately 20:25 p.m. We wanted to close the shop, and I jumped over the counter to close the doors, and two persons came in, two black men, and I believe they wanted to buy something. So I jumped back over the counter again to assist them while my mother was closing the back of the shop. And suddenly the one person produced a firearm. As I could have seen, it looked like a 9mm parabellum. I have a military background, so I knew how to handle the situation. And I stood there, and they said they want all the money. And in the next moment, my mother was standing on my right-hand side, about 45 degrees to my back. And the two persons stood in front of me, behind the counter. And the person to the left grabbed me. So I had to eliminate the threat, as I can say. So I bumped him away, and I pushed him out of the shop. And the moment I turned to the other guy, I saw, before this all happened, when the person or the perpetrator, I don't know what to call him, produced the firearm, I saw his finger was not on the trigger. So I knew I had 2 seconds, okay? So after the other perpetrator grabbed me and I got loose from him, I looked back and I saw the person to my right took the firearm away from me and pointed in the direction of my mother. And I saw his finger went on the trigger. I knew now I had 1 second left. The only thing I could do was to jump in between my mother and the gun. So the shot went off, and they shot me through my left side, about a centimeter away, behind my heart. The bullet went down between L4 and L5 vertebra. The bullet went through that, and it burst my vertebrae in 19 pieces, the 2 vertebrae, L3 and L4. And then I fell to the ground. Just before that, the person took another shot at me. So this is one thing I would like to, you must remember, I'm living with this thing. It happened in 1999, 12 June. And since then, until now, I want to make sense out of what happened and why it happened. So the one thing I do not understand is, when we used to be in the army, we were taught to eliminate a threat with the least amount of violence that you can do it. Okay, so if this person already canceled the threat, why did he shoot me again? So this is what I'm thinking, is, was it hatred? because I wasn't a threat to him anymore. Okay, then the shop was robbed and I lay on the ground. A black woman opposite the street jumped over to come and help, okay? And she actually took her fingers and pushed it in the holes so that the blood doesn't come out anymore. My mother was in a state, she did not know what to do. So luckily I had training. So I told this woman to put me in a position where we learned in the army how you, with your one leg over the other one, your arm here, your throat up so that you can breathe. And then I told her to make sugar water for my mother. Her dad already called the police. The police came there and I went to hospital. Since I went to hospital, it was nearly 3 years until I could work again. I was in hospital, I think I was in a coma for 2 weeks. I was in the intensive care unit for 3 months. After that, they sent me to the spinal unit where they've learned me how to get along in a wheelchair because I was paralyzed. And at some stage, I started to feel some pieces of my legs again. So after I came out of hospital, I didn't receive any aftercare. I mean psychological care, you need that. This is I mean, if you just think about it. And my mother also. When at a stage, I could go home on weekends and then I had to be back in hospital on the Monday. And it was more than 3 months, I think, for the first time I went home. And my mother had brown hair. When I got home, she had white hair. She was gray. My mother lost about 30 kilograms. She died a little bit later. Normal things, not because of that, but I think it had something to do with that. She was never the same woman ever again. She couldn't sleep alone. She couldn't sleep without the light on. So what happened afterwards? And even with me, I've never received help. I had to learn myself to walk. Me and my mother, I went to live with my mother again, a grown-up man.
Are you in a lot of pain today?
Well, let me go there. So first of all, I had a huge amount of pain in certain areas. It was very difficult, and I asked my mother about every second or third day to help me to take my own life because I could not stand the pain. And she said, no, it's fine. She understands, she'll help me. So I said, give me all the pills that you can get. She said, no, I will do so. But first drink these 2 sleeping pills and sleep. Let me get everything right. Let me get all the pills. And then when I woke up, I felt better. And that kept on for a long time. That she kept on saying, I'll help you to take your own life, but first let rest a little bit. And later on, the pain never stopped. It's better. But where I'm sitting here, I'm in pain. I don't know, you call it phantom pains. I get that regularly, so much so that I have to drink a lot of pills and I can't go to work for a day or two. But it's not too bad, I can still do my work. But what bothers me the most is afterwards, apparently these people were caught. They were in a police cell, 2 of them. And at that stage, I was still in hospital. I was there for a long time, so I could not identify them, and they were released. And a little bit later, about 45 kilometers down the road, they killed another person, Willem, on a farm. The same people. And they've beaten the old lady up very much. I don't know what to make of it, but if I beat up an old man, it's not because he's a threat to me at all. So, in any case, from there, they went to the Ermelo region and killed 2 elderly people on a farm there as well. So they were in jail. If they didn't go out of jail, it would have saved a lot of people's lives. From there, they went again to the Secunda Trichardt area. And there, I believe one was shot and one was taken to jail. And as far as I know, I'm not sure about this fact. I don't want to say things that's not true here, but as far as I know, he was released from prison. So the person that shot me all those years ago is still on the street killing people. I think that is a problem.
Yes, of course.
You understand what I'm saying? So the problem that we have is, I'm sitting here today to tell you my story. I'm not into politics and those things. What I would like to do is to make our country safer. You must remember, the thing is, I'm not a racist, Willem. I get along with any, I have Portuguese friends, Indian friends, black, white. I get along with everybody. But we are sitting in a situation where for me to be here might have an effect on my safety. For me to show my face on a camera and saying what I do. And that is what's going on. We have a problem with crime. And we have a bigger problem with crime in rural areas. Because I think if you take statistics and you break it down into percentages, like white South African people are 7 or 8% of the country, and Indian people are so much. Take the crime and work it into percentages and go and see if then, because then we're talking about the facts, not about, I think there's more people being killed in a squatter camp or on a farm, or you can't think. I think that if you bring it down into percentages, we'll see what the problem is.
Do you feel any hatred, or do you feel any, let's call it vengefulness in your heart after what happened to you?
Okay, number one, Willem, if I do that, it will consume my life. I had, while I was in a wheelchair, while I was trying to take my own life because I couldn't handle the pain and I couldn't handle it not to walk again and so on, yes, I did. That's true. But as your body heals a little, your mind heals also. And at the stage where I'm sitting now, I have no problem with, and this is where we are sitting in our country, that I would like to tell you now that I don't have any hate towards white or black people. But now I'm sitting here, and this is the truth. Sorry, I'm thinking of, when I tell you, or I don't have hatred between white or black. Now I'm thinking, must I say the word black first and then white? Because now I'm discriminating if I use the word white first. This is a situation that we're sitting in. You have to count your words every day, what you say. And the thing is, there's other people that does not count their words. It's like a certain person needs to count their words and the other one doesn't. So, what I'm doing at this stage, I have a company and I sponsor a black school in a rural area. And I'm very glad I did it, because I got photographs of a young black child with such a trophy. Because I like chess, I like to sponsor children. And I'm sponsoring white children and black children to the amount of money that I have available. But I'm sponsoring more black people than white people at the moment. So yes, now I've got no hatred for them at all.
But despite you having a business that's up and running, you told me earlier that you are planning maybe on going to America, becoming a truck driver there. Why would you take such a big leap and also such a big cut in income to go become something much less than you are here in America?
On a lighter note, because America's got the most beautiful trucks, and I'm in love with trucks my whole life. On a lighter note, no, Willem, I fear for my life every day. I don't know. I don't know if I want to touch the subject of BEE and those type of things. But what is happening at the moment with me, it's like I'm being forced to employ community and those people that does not have the knowledge and the skill to do the work. I have employed and listened to the guys. They came to me. We did everything that we could do, and I have employed a lot of these guys. So my salary contribution to the community at this stage is 150,000 Rand a month. That's not all my wages, but that is the amount of money that I pay to salaries in the community. And for return, that same community is stealing my company empty. I have to employ armed guards, 3 armed guards with AK-47s, licensed guards, licensed security company, everything done by the book to keep my place safe from the same community that I employ. So, Willem, I don't know how to handle this situation, because now I'm getting death threats, because according to the law of South Africa, there is no way that there's any law that forces me to hire a community person without knowledge. If the knowledge is there, I would like to support my community because they are near me.
Yes.
I don't want to hire a person that lives 600 kilometers from me, because every now and then he has to go home. If we have urgent work, you can't go and fetch him. So I would like to employ the whole community, but they have to have skills. But now the problem comes, if you hire the community and the people are not happy with the circumstances where they actually signed a form to say that we are working in these circumstances and we agree to this, and everything is done through the correct channels and so on. Then the community comes and they threaten to close my business down and to kill me. Last year in November, yes, it was in November, like the middle of November, I drove into town and there's a slip made to my left and I was in the right-hand lane and there was a BMW car with a person inside. And when I stopped, and this guy could have driven because the lane was open, he stopped and he took out a gun and pointed the gun at me. I had to take mine out and point it back to him, and then he sped off. What would have happened, Willem, if I did not have a gun with me that day? Was that the day that I'm going to be killed? Am I going to get killed tonight at my home because I don't want to employ a person that cannot do the job? The thing is, we are talking about things that there's much more to all of this. If you think about less than 100 kilometers from us, last year November, how many months is that? It's not a year. A young man like yourself was killed, while an 80-year-old woman was being raped, and she was told to look at the person raping her in the eye the whole time. She was not even killed. So you sit with an 80-year-old woman that witnessed a young man being killed right in front of her, and she's being raped, and she must live with this today. So I don't know, but it was black men doing that.
Would it give you peace of mind to go to America, and would you be able to support your family from there?
At this moment, Willem, I need to reevaluate everything, because my children, they don't get work. I don't know why, but I think we all know what the situation is, what the criteria for a young person coming out of school is for a job. So I've started the company so that my children can work with me. If I leave, where are they going? But at this stage, I'm actually at the point where my life is more worth being in America, driving a truck, than to be here and supplying food to my family and to all the people that work for me. You must remember, and this is one thing that we need to get out there. How many people eat from one person's salary a month in South Africa? You would supposed to know those. Plus minus between 5 and 8. So if one person receives a salary, it feeds 5 to 8 other people. I'm employing 64 people times 5. So if I close my company down, 300 people will not eat. And I have a small company. It is not a very big company. But I know about a lot of companies closing down because of certain things. I mean, I'm here to talk about the fact that I'm short. But that didn't stop there, Willem. My whole life, since 1999, my whole life is one big struggle. If I leave now to go to America, I think I'll be safe. I have more hope to live my life full in America than in South Africa. And this is sad.
Very
Because
sad.
the problem is, I am a very good diesel mechanic. I'm not a bad businessman either. I know the trucking industry. I can bring something to America. But I'm doing it here now. This is a problem. Because if we all leave and go there, what is going to happen here? But again, that is only my opinion. But yes, Willem, at this stage, I'm looking to sell my company and take the money and divide it between my children and go to America without a cent in my pocket. I'll go there, I'll go and live there and work there. I'll work just for food and a place to stay.
It was very touching to me to hear the impact that this attack had on his life and on his mother's life, who was part of this attack or who was also present during this attack where he was paralyzed. This video is of course part of a series that we are making into a full-fledged documentary to tell the story of what is really happening in South Africa and focusing on people's lives that are affected by the system and the situation here called Crimes Against Humanity. This full-fledged documentary will be released in the coming months. If you wish to be informed about South Africa, you are welcome to subscribe to our channel where we do news and analysis looking at the situation here. And if you want to receive regular updates on the work that we are doing on WhatsApp, you can just WhatsApp your name and surname to the number on the screen to join.